Okay, I think I can speak for everyone when I say, Yoru's a mom? Honestly, who could have saw this coming? Not me. I think this chapter really goes to show that Yoru is just that bitch, a baddie, some might say. I think a lot of us were underestimating how powerful Yoru was, because we weren't expecting her to pull out something like this. Yoru having children does make sense, because it's like, I always thought about it. So people are afraid of war. Are they afraid of the concept of war? Are they afraid of dying in war? Are they afraid of the weapons they have to wield? I was never really able to click that in my head. But for it to be like, since those things are associated with war, of course they are her children. So it kind of just makes sense. But this begs the question, is the nuclear weapons devil a part of Yoru's children? And is that why she wants to get nuclear weapons back? The answer is, of course, nuclear weapons is part of her children, because nuclear weapons are associated with war, a weapon of war. I'm not going to drop any names, but there was a specific time within the World War that, say, not one, but 2 strong nukes were used. I'm not throwing any shade, just not dropping any names either. But in the Chainsaw Man world, since Chainsaw Man has 8 nuclear weapons devil, no one remembers that event or even that nuclear weapons existed. It would quite literally be like Yoru's child never existed. So learning this new piece of information, it really put it into perspective on how Yoru was feeling and why she set this goal to begin with. But there might be some rebuttal to this, like why would Yoru care about her children if she killed 2 of her children? It kind of just doesn't add up. But if we go back to when Yoru and Asa were talking in the bathtub, Asa wonders if Yoru has any way to beat Chainsaw Man. Yoru says she has 2. There are 2 weapons that she could make that would be far more fearsome and powerful than hers. Asa, of course upset, wonders why she hasn't made them in the first place, and that she gave up her home and even college fund to make weapons. Now see, this is where you gotta start looking at Yoru in a different light. She says don't compare them to such trifling things. She looks a bit irritated when she said that. And then on the next panel, she looks to be guilty. Turning those 2 into weapons would run counter to saving my comrades. Then just stop. And then it goes back to Yoru, looking sad, confused, and a whole lot of different emotions. And on the next panel, when she says that she wants to beat Chainsaw Man and prove that she's a more fearsome devil, it looks like Yoru is a bit frustrated even with herself. Because if we look closer at the art, I can't really tell, but it seems like Yoru may look like that she's about to cry. And then we go back to current events to where Chainsaw Man is about to cut her head off. And then Yoru has her inner thoughts. Would I even turn my own children into weapons? Well, I guess I would. See, now that right there really just goes to show that Yoru wasn't entirely sure that she wanted to do this. Her saying, I guess I would, isn't really a solid, yes, I'm going to do it, absolutely. It was more so of a, she has no choice, she has to do it in order to reach her goal, or else she will die. And then we get the most chilling panel. Come to mother, tank, gun. Oof. And then we see Chainsaw Man hit in the stomach with a powerful attack. Now, there is a purpose to all of this. Yoru never wanted to turn her children into weapons, but if it meant getting one of them back from not existing anymore, then it was a choice that she was willing to make. Now, this doesn't mean that Yoru does not feel guilty when she did this, because if she did not feel guilty at all, her weapons wouldn't have pierced Chainsaw Man's stomach, therefore making him vomit up the mouth devil. Yoru just isn't a devil that doesn't care. Ever since we learned about her power, we should have known who she was. But since she was constantly mean and rude towards Asa, we kinda just figured that she was a cold-hearted person. In reality, she's likely a soft, kind person. Maybe someone that gets overly attached too quickly. So someone with her type of power couldn't possibly be a cold-hearted person. It just wouldn't make any sense. But now that she has these 2 type of weapons, I wonder how she will use it against Chainsaw Man. And not only that, but how delicate they are as weapons. Because as we know, the more stronger a weapon is, the more delicate it will be. Definitely next chapter is gonna be some fucking heat. Because you're not telling me Yoru has this much firepower and is now up against Chainsaw Man. At first we thought she was cooked, but nah, she had a secret ace up her sleeve. 2 of them in fact. Well, if she had any arms, that is. Okay, there is something else about this chapter that I do want to touch on real quick. So why does Yoru remember the nuclear weapons devil when it was erased? So this one I feel like is something simple to explain. See, the reason why we know of Magma to remember all of these devils was because she was the control devil. But aka Yoru, the war devil, she doesn't really have control like Makima. But for Yoru, since nuclear weapons was and is associated with war, the war devil is kind of like an extension of Yoru. So while nuclear weapons was Eden, Yoru still remembered nuclear weapons because nuclear weapons is associated with war. That is why I believe Yoru remembers nuclear weapons. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. Okay, but how will she go about fighting Chainsaw Man? Fighting Chainsaw Man is no easy task. Yoru even said this herself. In order to make sure that Chainsaw Man doesn't regenerate, Yoru's gonna have to blow off his arms. But even when it comes to that, I'm not sure if that will work, because Chainsaw Man does seem like he can control that intestine that is coming out of his stomach. If any of that will happen though, I'm not sure. Anyone's guess is as good as mine, but I gotta say, I was right. Chainsaw Man did get hit with a powerful attack, but I was wrong about the part where why Chainsaw Man did not cut off her head. He was about to go for that this chapter. Honestly, I'm ready for the next chapter. It is gonna be so fire. I want to see how her 2 weapons really work. The gun gauntlet is kind of just self-explanatory. I would assume that it can just shoot really powerful bullets. Now as for the tank gauntlet, I want to assume that it throws a really powerful packed punch as well as really powerful bullets, and on top of that it's really durable, because why wouldn't a tank be durable? I mean, that's kind of what it was made for. This chapter was really amazing. Honestly, as of lately, Chainsaw Man has been coming out with fire chapter after fire chapter after fire chapter. I would not say that we're at the peak of Chainsaw Man right now, but the story is getting interesting. I do believe that we are in the final arc of Chainsaw Man, because not only are we getting the fight between the War Devil and Chainsaw Man, but we are getting more of a backstory on the War Devil. And we all know Tatsuki Fujimoto doesn't really like to reveal too much information, so when he does, you best believe he's cooking. And what he's cooking currently is just the appetizer. This chapter was a strong 10. Hola! Hola, welcome to the end of the video. You know, holy shit, this chapter was crazy. I loved it. But anyway, as for channel updates, I have finished the summer 2024 anime list, so best believe you guys are gonna get that tomorrow. And so if you want to see that, subscribe and be here for when it drops, because I promise you that video is magnificent. And as for other big projects of what I have in store, I sort of have a few ideas, but you know, I'm not gonna reveal my hand too quickly just in case those do not happen, because I have ideas that go out of my head as quickly as they go in. Sounds weird, but I promise it's all in good faith. But anyway, that's all the channel updates that I do have currently. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you all tomorrow.